Oh, hey. Aha! Science.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't mind me. I'm just watching my TikTok. You know, these paint mixing videos. Love Oh, it's funny. Notification. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, ooh, wow. Yeah, that's bad. Okay. Today I have some concerning news. The researchers have found microplastics in human placentas, and that's bad. Yeah, you know those plastic vampire teeth that you wore once that last Halloween and they bit your gums so badly that you threw them out? Well, it looks like they're back. And they're in microplastic form and they're biting you again because they're in our placentas, microplastics. You see, the study was published in Environment International in January of 2021 and links below. And what the researchers did is they took small samples of placentas, both on the mother side and on the fetus side, and and also pieces of the amniotic sac. And of course, this is all they did their ethical things. This is all after successful delivery. No one was hurt or harmed or anything. They just, after the successful delivery, they took these placentas and then very carefully they made sure not to get any microplastic contamination. And what they did is they took little pieces out of all these placentas. They basically digested them. The microplastics got left over, kind of like, because they're resilient. That's why they're everywhere. They don't just dissolve like everything else. And so they, after dissolving these placentas, they're able to count and find all these microplastics and identify how much they were. And you see, in 2 of the placentas, they didn't find any microplastics, which is great. But in the other 4 placentas, they found a total of 12 microplastic pieces. And here, let me show you what a microplastic piece looks like. Right there. That's what they look like. They're small. They're just basically small pieces of plastic. And we'll talk about some of the possible issues about that in just a second. And you see, they found 12 in the 4 placentas, but the researchers think that's an underestimate because the researchers, they didn't dissolve the whole placentas. They just took small pieces of them and dissolved those. And so they only took 23 grams on average of each of the placentas, when each placenta weighed, around 500 grams total. So here, let me do some quick math to see what percent that is. 23 divided by 500 times 100 to make it a percentage. 4.6%. So they only really digested about, ballpark 4.5% of the placenta. So they found 12 pieces of microplastic and 4.5% of the placenta. So yeah, they think there might be a lot more microplastics in there. So where is this microplastic coming from? Well, here's the thing. You know how everybody says to reduce, reuse, recycle, especially when it comes to plastics? That's because plastics stick around for a long time. When you have a plastic water bottle and you throw it away willy-nilly into the landfill without recycling, the plastic sticks around. It's not biodegradable. It takes estimates at least 1,000 years for the plastics, for bacteria to start getting these plastics, because bacteria are smart. They don't want to eat your crap. I mean, they'll eat your literal crap, but they're not going to eat your plastic crap. I mean, what do you guys think? Bacteria have standards. I mean, it's hard to digest that stuff. I mean, you wouldn't eat it. Well, there's some research suggests that we are eating microplastic. But that's beside the point. So when you have that water bottle and it's in the landfill, it just starts to break down, just piece by piece. It starts to get crushed, break down in smaller and smaller fragments. The thing is, those fragments are still plastic. They're still little shards of plastic. They still are a polymer. They're still tough. They're still plastic. They're just really small. They're microscopic. That's why they're called microplastics. plastics. And these microplastics, they don't like to stick around. They like to blow away in the wind. They like to wash into rivers and streams. They like to go in the soil. And apparently they like to go in your placenta now. That's the issue. They don't just stick around. They're going around everywhere. And when I say blow away, they're not blowing away into nothingness. They're blowing away into your lungs. They're blowing away into the ocean where they're getting eaten by other animals, by fish. They're getting taken in by plants. They're getting everywhere. We're making the world plastic. And you know, here's a fun little statistic that I found here in a global inventory of small floating plastic debris published in December of 2015 in the Environmental Research Journal. It's estimated that microplastic particles range from 15 to 51 trillion particles in the ocean, in the oceans. Here, let's throw that into more understandable measurement. Tons, right? So that is 93 to 236,000 metric tons. That is a lot of little plastic shards floating around in the oceans, getting eaten by fishes, taken in by plants, going in water. It's not good. And even worse, some companies are actually making plastics in microplastic size for different industrial uses. And we're not always taking care of them. Sometimes we leak, sometimes they spill. It's pollution. It's real. I can already hear people saying, so what? We live in a plastic world. I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, heck, we have plastic butt implants. You see, the problem is because those microplastics, they aren't where they're supposed to be. They're not maintained. And when microplastics get in our body, there's evidence that they can cause localized toxicity where they are. They can also there's also evidence suggesting that they can disrupt people's immune responses, and they can even block intercellular communication. So when these microplastics are found in the placenta, there's a chance that these microplastics are disrupting cellular communication between the embryo and the uterus, meaning that they can limit the embryo's growth, they can make it not get all the nutrients it needs, early pregnancies, mutilations. All of these things are possible when we have foreign contaminants going into the system. The other problem is these plastics, they also contain chemicals inside of them. It's like plaception? That doesn't sound right. You know, plastic inception, chemicals and chemicals and chemicals. Because, for example, there's a chemical called phthalates. These phthalate compounds are commonly found in plastics. What they do is they make the plastics more flexible. I'm going to use my credit card as an example. That's a bad idea. Let me get a plastic thing. Like a plastic bag. Flexible. So these phthalate compounds, they make the plastics flexible, but they can also get leached out. So when phthalates are in these microplastics, the chemicals get transported in, and then they leach out of the microplastic into your system. And it's been shown in laboratory rat studies that these phthalate compounds can cause a genital mutilation in lab rats. They can cause feminization of male rat embryos, leading to fertility issues, leading to all sorts of problems. So, yeah, kind of scary stuff. Well, I guess every cloud has its silver lining, right? Well, I guess in this case, it's every placenta has its phthalo blue lining. I mean, seriously, some of the colors in these microplastics are actually phthalo blue. Isn't that right, Bob?
Just a little touch of phthalo blue into it also.
But you know, these microplastics can't be all bad. I mean, because these microplastics, they're colorful. And, you know, we're always trying to brighten things up, bedazzle things, you know, make things pop. And now with all these microplastics going inside our bodies, we'll begin to start to adapt some of the colors that the microplastics have. I mean, look, here, I have this fine graph, right? I'm going to put it right there. And you can see of these microplastics that they found, most of them are blue. And so if we keep building up these blue microplastics, we're going to start to become blue. How cool is that, right? Right? But it's not just all blue. You can see, like, here on the fetal side, they found these blue microplastics as well as orange, purple, pink. And on the maternal one, they found a lot of red. And so, it makes me wonder, if we were to get all these colors and keep adding them together in these same ratios, the placentas will change colors. We might just change colors. It makes me wonder, if we keep up these same ratios, what color will we be? We need to find a way to mix these colors. We need science. Wait a second. How about I just do this? That'll be easier. Here we go. Save some glass. And now, time for science. They're not mixing. The colors. They're not mixing. Oh, we got water. Food coloring, food coloring, food coloring. This is going to let our colors mix here. Yellow and blue, yellow and blue, make green. Now, I just have to get all the other colors to mix to see what they will be. No, I don't have enough. There's only the 4. How am I going to mix all the other colors? Well, after discovering that I didn't have enough food coloring to mix up all these colors to figure out what color people are going to be in the future with the ongoing problem of microplastics getting into us, I turned to the internet. And on the internet, I found a handy-dandy color picker mixer program. So, with using this, we can now mix our colors to figure out what we're going to be. And isn't that great? So let me put on my Carnival Barker costume so that we can play the color mixing game. And we're going to be all set. So place your bets. Place your bets. First we have the fetal side. We have blue, orange, purple, and pink. What will the color be when they're all mixed together? Don't you see? Ding. Light purple. Is that nice? And now for the maternal side, we got light blue, dark blue, and 2 pieces of red, 2 pieces of red. What will the color be? Nice kind of magenta purple color. That's nice. Everybody likes that color, right? Right, yeah. And now finally for the amniotic sac. Now this is a tricky one, folks. This is a tricky one. We got light blue and 2 dark blue. Put them together. What do we get? Dark blue. Really dumb jokes aside, this is a really concerning discovery. The first documented case of microplastics in human placentas, both on the mother side and on the fetus side. It shows that these microplastics really are getting everywhere, and we don't really understand very much at all about how biology is going to be affected by these microplastics. And that's why we need more research to discover what the effects are going to be, where they are, and we also need to be so much more careful with our environment, with pollution, with the generation of plastics, because they're not going away anytime soon. It's getting worse. And so I just hope that we can have the research and have the care that we need in order to move forward as a species, as a civilization. Why? Because that's what people do. That's what we do it. Well, this was Aha Science with this guy, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.